So the future of Call of Duty has been on my mind for a while now, and this is because of just the recent games we've had in the franchise and realizing that where are they going to go from here? Because when you think about it, the past 4 years, we have had very different experiences when it comes to the era and the setting of these recent games. So we had, of course, World War II, which was obviously a World War II shooter. We had Black Ops 4, which was kind of a near futuristic type of a game. We had Modern Warfare 2019, which was obviously a modern era. And now we have Black Ops Cold War, which is the Cold War era. So 4 completely different eras, 4 completely different feeling games. But then you got to think about, okay, what comes after this, right? Presumably, it's probably going to be a Modern Warfare sequel, right? But that's going to feel very similar to Modern Warfare 2019. I'm kind of worried about how similar it'll probably feel to Modern Warfare 2019, which is a problem in my opinion, because one of the most important things to Call of Duty, in my opinion, is diversity in the locations and diversity in the settings. I think that's important, right? I don't care too much about what the setting is itself, I just care how different it is. I don't want games that feel very similar in looks and design through and throughout, you know? They could be very different in other ways, but how they look is still going to kind of impact sort of how I feel about the overall tone of the game. Like, I don't want every game to be modern, I don't want every game to be this or that. And that's one of the reasons I think me and a lot of others got kind of annoyed with the futuristic games, not because I hated the futuristic era, but because we were just getting so much of it. Because personally, I really liked the futuristic era. I think it was actually really cool. I loved Black Ops 2, one of my favorite COD games. Black Ops 3, my second favorite COD game, both being futuristic. Infinite Warfare is my fourth favorite COD game. Black Ops 4 is my fifth favorite COD game. That means my top 5 favorite COD games, 4 out of 5 of them are futuristic. I don't care about the setting. Obviously, personally, I'd prefer the modern setting. I prefer the more, past setting, but they don't determine whether or not I like the games, I just tend to like these futuristic games a little bit more because the way they're designed usually just fits my playstyle more. But I don't really want to see that every single year. But one thing that I've had on my mind for a while, though, is not even the futuristic era, which I don't personally think is going to come back for a long time. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come back for another, 5 to 6 years, because so many people hated on it, and so many people left the COD community and stopped buying these games because they were futuristic. How many people have you heard say that they're tired of COD doing this futuristic crap? Everyone's been complaining about it, man. A lot of people. There's obviously been decent enough people still playing and enjoying them, but a lot of people just don't like the futuristic era. But then we got to talk about advanced movement, which is a whole nother thing. They could still do the futuristic era, but still keep it boots on the ground. They could still do that, just like Black Ops 2, just like Black Ops 4. But what about advanced movement? Will that ever come back? Should it ever come back? And I have 2 answers for you. So when it comes to will it come back, I'm going to say no. And when it comes to should it come back, I'm going to say probably not. And then when it comes to do I want it to come back, I'm going to say hell yes. So what do I mean by that? So personally, I loved advanced movement. I did. At least Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare's advanced movement. I loved it. I didn't like Advanced Warfare. It was way too clunky and it was just weird. You didn't have much control over your movement, right? But Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare was so fluid. It was great, man. Why did I love it? A, it increased the skill gap, right? It definitely increased the skill gap because you had to get used to it. You had to, get used to the movement. It allowed you to kind of, have longer gunfights with other players because you're able to boost around and stuff like that. And it honestly made for some really fun matches and fun gunfights to have within COD. And also, it increased the speed of the game. It kind of guaranteed that the game would be fast. Like, the other mechanics in the game didn't really matter when you had advanced movement because it was gonna be fast just by the very nature of you having that ability. So, Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare are very fast-paced games because of that, and that's something I really love about these 2 games. So, would I like it to come back? Yes. But the reason why I don't think it ever will, and also the reason why, objectively, I don't think it should, because a lot of people hate it. A lot of people absolutely hate it. And I don't want to see the community hating on a game because of the advanced movement, even though I do think it is a good feature that actually made the game really fun. And another thing I have to say is it is very unfair to people who don't own a SCUF controller or an Xbox Elite controller, someone who doesn't own the paddles on the back of their controllers, right? So I've had a scuff since Black Ops 2. I've had one for a while, and I've been using it ever since. And I got it because I play a lot of Call of Duty, therefore I'd like to be the best at it that I can possibly be. And although I wouldn't say the scuff gives you like special abilities or anything, it does definitely make it easier to play. I could still probably do just as good without it, but it's just more likely I'm gonna do better with it. And all it does for me is just let me jump while aiming, practically. That's really all it really does. And for most CODs that are boots on the ground, that doesn't really matter that much because, you know, yes, jump shotting is useful, but you really don't need to do it to, you know, fight enemies. But in an advanced movement game, you have a massive advantage with being able to jump and aim at the same time. Like, you can kind of do it without it. It's just really difficult. The paddles make it so much easier. So for players who don't have it, and that's why I think a lot of casuals absolutely hated advanced movement because they sucked at these games. There's so many casuals who were terrible at Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare because they didn't have scuffs or they just weren't good at the game in general, but they didn't want to get used to it. They didn't want to have to learn this advanced movement, and they didn't really boost around, even though boosting around is really useful and you should honestly do it a lot because it really helps to keep you alive if you just continuously do it. But a lot of people just dreaded that. And I have to, you know, understand where they're coming from. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm very good at Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3. Like, I demolish lobbies in these games because, well, yeah, I do have the scuff. And yes, I am pretty good with the advanced movement. I learned how to use it. But there's a lot of casuals out there who just haven't learned it. They can't just sit in the corner and shoot people. They can't. It is a very not noob-friendly mechanic. It's really not. I mean, I've heard people say they think it is a noob-friendly mechanic, but it's not. Noob-friendly mechanics would be stuff like specialists, or safe spaces, or skill-based matchmaking. But this, the advanced movement's not. It was so, you know, aiming towards the competitive type of players. It really just made it so in these games, better players usually won the lobbies and demolished. And I think, again, that's why I enjoyed it, because I was one of those players. So I didn't really have much of an issue in these games with, you know, every now and then getting in a lobby where I'm getting dicked on. No, I usually dicked on the enemy team like every other game. But I have to understand that there's people out there who just play this game casually and they're not going to go out and buy a scuff controller, and they're going to get absolutely shit on because people are going to be boost jumping above them. But then that poses another question. Well, why not have the game split up so they have a advanced movement game mode and then they have just the boots on the ground game mode, right? They kind of did that for Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare where they had these other modes, but the problem is there was just not enough people playing those lobbies, especially like after the life cycle, so not enough people played them. And also the maps were designed for the advanced movement. But what I think they should do, right? In the future, I don't think anytime soon, maybe like 3 years from now at least, if they have another futuristic game, maybe even the sequel to Black Ops Cold War will be futuristic, maybe they'll try to make it like Black Ops 2, I don't know. They shouldn't make the game itself tailored towards advanced movement, rather they should make it tailored towards boots on the ground, but have a game mode separately that has advanced movement. So rather than like Infinite Warfare, where the majority of the game is advanced movement and just a little playlist is boots on the ground, do the opposite. The majority of the game, the main portion of it is boots on the ground, but have a playlist for advanced movement. Black Ops 4 actually had a blackout mode where you were able to have advanced movement in it, and it was really clunky though. I didn't really like the advanced movement that was in Black Ops 4's blackout for that one mode, but whatever. It wasn't a multiplayer. I kind of wish they at least try that multiplayer as well, because it'd be interesting to see how that mode would play. But if you were to do this, it would give players like me a mode to play and have fun with, and you really don't have to mess around with the map design. You don't need all the wall running spots and the design that Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare went with all their maps. You can honestly just put on Black Ops 4 maps, like those style maps, and they probably work just fine, at least in my opinion. And I think it would just give us a place to just go in and have fun, because to me it is a lot of fun. It increases the speed of the game substantially, and it's just fun. It's easy too, man. I gotta say, those lobbies are just easy to demolish. And I know that's like, you know, like a dicky thing to say, but it is what it is. And that's why I'm saying I don't think they should make the whole game advanced movement, but having a mode, you know, just don't play it if you don't like it. That sort of a thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Did you like advanced movement? Did you hate it? Let me know. I wanted to get rid of it because I was just annoyed because they did 3 years in a row. If they did it like for 1 year and then maybe skipped a year or two and then did it again, like I think it would be more acceptable to the community, but since they just hammered it to us for 3 years straight, I think that's one of the bigger issues with it. But every time I go back to Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, I have such a great time, and I've always enjoyed these games a lot more than most other COD games out there, and I think Advanced Movement's a big reason for that. So hopefully you all enjoyed the video. I really love doing these commentary videos. Let me know if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.